Greetings. Gotta stay hydrated. Gotta be hydrated for you guys. Gotta perform, you know? About performance. Body is a well-oiled machine. Real Fikori has changed his username to the real Hugo Boss. Interesting. Any reason? Hugo Boss. Doesn't he have like a clothing line or something? Let's just warm up here. We're just warming up. We're just warming up. We're stretching. We're getting limber. He says, yes, Marshall, there is. And then he doesn't tell me what the reason he changed his username is. Huh. Very coy. I like it. I like it. Leave some mystery, you know? It's good. We can't get to know each other all at once. What happened to me? I look wild, huh? I look wild? I don't know. I don't know what happened to me. Life happened to me. Life's kicking the shit out of me. Come on now. Oh my God, what happened to you? Life happened to me. Have you been out there? Have you been out there lately? In life? Yeah, this is what I look like. This is what I look like when I go through life a bit. When I have a day of life, this is kind of what I look like. Kind of kicks the shit out of me. We're all going through it, man. We're all going through it. It's 11 o'clock in Italy. I appreciate you listening, man. 11 p.m. in Italy. Late night in Italia. Italy. JH76 says, sup, Marshall, how's your afternoon going? It's all right. It's all right. I went to, you know what I did today? I went and I saw, what's that movie? Project Hail Mary. I went and I saw Project Hail Mary by myself. Because I figured, why not? Why not live a little, you know? Plug back into the Matrix a little bit. And see how it feels. Go watch a movie. Just go watch a movie. It was pretty good. I had read. I'm looking at the book now. I had read about 3/4 of the book, and then I never finished it, which is kind of par for the course for me. I tend to not finish things. I tend to watch shows and I don't finish them, like Industry. I just stop watching that. And The Pit, I'm pretty sure I'm done. I'm pretty sure I won't watch that anymore. I just kind of lose interest in things pretty easily. Things have to be really good for it to keep my interest, but I had read Project Hail Mary, and so I kind of knew going into it. I was kind of curious how the movie was going to be. I'd heard it got good reviews, even though you shouldn't be a person that just goes to see movies just because there's good reviews. I don't really like that. All the reviews are bullshit anyway. There's hella good movies that have terrible reviews. But we got good reviews, and the trailer looked good, so I went to go see it. It was good. It was good. I was pleasantly, I don't think I was surprised, but it was good. It was good. I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. Give it an 8 out of 10. An 8. An 8 out of 10 is what I'd give it. Um, so yeah, was a lot more upbeat than I thought. I thought maybe they would go a little more serious, solemn, darker vibe, but they didn't do that. It was kind of upbeat a little bit. I guess I shouldn't have been surprised because that's kind of how the book goes. The book is kind of, Andy Weir has a sense of humor. He kind of writes in a lighthearted way. Andy Weir never really, you know, makes it so serious. It's always kind of fun. He makes it kind of fun. So I guess I shouldn't be surprised that the movie was kind of had that tone to it. You know, even when they're doing really dangerous things, there's always some humor injected into it. In fact, there is some humor that is quite good. It's quite good. I won't give any spoilers here, but when he's on the ship, there's some pretty good humor between him and another character. Um, and it got me laughing, man. It got me laughing. I like to think that my sense of humor is pretty takes. It's hard to make me laugh, right? It's hard to make me laugh. But I think the funniest humor is like the dumbest kind of humor and the most understated kind of humor. If it's dumb and it's like subtle and understated, those are the things that really make me laugh. Anything that tries too hard, I don't really find that funny. If it's tried to be too intelligent, I'm good. But yeah, it was a good movie. It was a good movie. I did star in that movie. Yes, I did. I did star in that movie. No, I was just the stunt double. I was just the stunt double. So, so yeah. Since you're the 5065 says since you're smart, have you been able to find out any negative character traits that you have that repel women? Oh boy. I mean, not really because I don't really hang out with women a lot. I don't have like I never hang out with women. So, um it's not like I hang out with them enough to actually for them to be repelled by me. I would have to hang out with women for me to repel them, to know that I repel them, right? Some aspects of my personality, which I don't do, which I just don't do. Um, but it's not to say that there aren't aspects of my personality that would definitely repel women. I'm sure there are. Um, but I mean, what are you gonna do? What are you going to do? Um, I don't know. Apparently, I repelled that modern woman last week or a couple weeks back. I don't know what I did, you know? I don't know what I did. Did I not do enough? Endo F June says you look so cute today. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Shit. And one bone says unless you're a Chad, you repel women. Wow. Very black and white stance there. What does a Chad define it? Chad to whom? Chad to all women? Can you be a Chad to certain women and not to others? Or are you just a Chad to all women? Or you're a Chad to no women? Explain that one, Bone. Explain. I think I might start using my comment section as a debate arena. I might just debate individual people. You say something, let's discuss this. Yippee says movie was fine, not great in my opinion. Why not? Why not? Explain. Why was it? Well, it's not great. I wouldn't say the movie's great. But between fine and great, I think there's good. No? That's what I would call it. I would say it was a good movie. But you seem to go to fine and not great, but not good. Lim Davo says, Marsh, is this really it? I'm afraid so. I'm afraid so. That's what I think every morning when I open my eyes is this really it? Do we really have to do this again? I just did this yesterday. Mogging Ray on views. No, not at all. Raymond gets way more views than I do. Corching says you should do a stream marathon, maybe collab with Clavicular. Yeah, dude, because like I can collab with Clavicular. What? Dude, we're in like different stratospheres of popularity. I am a nothing compared to him. I don't even, I've never even watched any Clavicular. I just heard recently that he apparently flipped out, or I just saw a video on YouTube that said that he flipped out on a live stream recently, or a podcast he was doing with someone. He like left, he like flipped out and left or something. I don't know. I didn't even watch the video, so I mean, could be entirely wrong. I just saw the title. Alice started reading 1984. Nice, nice. I'm almost done with 1984, actually. I'm almost done. We can go over some 1984 and some broken money today. I did write some pages down. There were some interesting things. Maybe you guys might think they're interesting. Maybe not. Only 113 viewers. That's actually incredible. It's incredible that over 100 people will just watch me. Just watch me talk. I feel like a lot of the guys they want to hear me get on here and start bashing women. Only if it's right. Only if I feel it. Ah. JH76. I am on Rumble, yeah. Same username. Kellen says the girl I'm seeing is going away for 3 months. She's devastated. She's leaving. But any tips to get over the fact that she'll be away from me? Completely have to change my routine now. I have no tips for that. No. Sorry, I don't really have experience with that. I wish you well, brother. I wish you well. It's only 3 months. You'll be all right. You're not going to die. Fuck. Endo F. June says I would date you in a second. Oh, great. Are you a guy? Probably a guy, aren't you? They're all guys. And then she or he says I would date you in a heartbeat. Oh, not a second, a heartbeat. Which one's longer? Benny Burrito, thank you for the $10, man. He says, "Hey Marshall, you sexy beast. My main gripe with women is that they're so fucking boring. I'll go in a deep, I'll go in deep about various topics and they stare at me like I'm speaking a foreign language." Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this is kind of how women are, man. This is kind of how women are. This is kind of how women are. That's why. That's why we. I don't know. That's why men kind of just want them for sex, because most women, when you talk about the things that you want to talk about, their eyes just kind of glaze over, and it's just the difference between the male brain and the female brain. Perhaps we've selected for it. I don't know. I don't know. You have to ask the question: have we selected for this? Has natural selection played a part in making women just so vacuous? Most of them. Not saying all of them, of course, but most of them vacuous. Um, you know, could also be. You guys just have different interests. You guys just have different interests. I mean, most of the time, women have different interests than men. Although nowadays, women are so masculine, they're starting to have the same interests as men. So you could say it the other way too. But yeah, it's kind of tough to talk to women. That's why dating is so hard. Like actually going on a date. I don't mean dating as far as hanging out with women after you have already started dating. That's also hard, but actually going on a date is hard. Because it's so formalized, and both parties know what. I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. Both parties know how it's going to go. Both parties are going to try to be someone they're not. They're not going to show you who they really are. And we both know that each other is doing this. We both suspect that this is what's going on. At least once you get into your late 20s, early 30s, you understand this is what's going on. When you're in your younger 20s or in your teens, you got no fucking clue. You think that who you really are is who you're portraying yourself to be. Like, you don't know that those two are different. You have no clue. You have no clue that those two are vastly different people. Vastly different. You think that they're the same. So I would say younger people have absolutely no clue. Which makes it easier for older people of the opposite sex to take advantage of them. But at the same time, it makes it also a lot more boring and uninteresting to be with a younger person of the opposite sex. Because, they're just, it's like, even if they're 23 years old or something and you're 34, it's kind of like you're dating a child, It's like you're dating a high schooler or something. It's just like, this is stupid. So it's just uninteresting. That's kind of how it is. It's kind of how it is. Yeah. I don't really, I'm kind of in a black pill mood right now. Kind of feeling like I don't know what I was thinking with this whole humiliation summer thing. I still have this poster. I'm looking at it right now. It says humiliation summer beckons. I don't know what I was thinking with that, you know. Because it's just so A part of me thinks if you reach a certain level of awareness and understanding of yourself, of the world, dating almost doesn't really, it's not really something that you could do anymore. It's not, even if you wanted to. Even if you wanted to go on a date with someone, you can't. You can't, because it's like it would be like you're playing house, you know? You would never play house as an adult because you know it's all pretend and it's stupid. Like you wouldn't spend any time out in the yard just like imagining shit and brandishing an imaginary sword and going and fighting, evil goblins in the backyard because it's just stupid, right? It's make believe. That's for kids. It's kind of the same thing with dating, I feel like. At a certain point, it's just like I can't even pretend like this is real anymore. I can't even pretend like I take this seriously, like I believe this anymore. You can't pretend like you believe it when you don't. Um, you know, One Bone says dating makes no sense to me in the West. Yeah. It could just be a West thing, but personally, I think I can't really date because um I'm just too lazy. I'm too lazy to do the thing, right? To just do any of it. I'm just, you know, and you can't go to a date and just be yourself right off the bat because then it's too much. It's too much and you scare people. You scare people. And you don't want to scare people. They'll think that they'll just be like, "Whoa, pump the brakes." Like you're just being honest and you're being like open and you're just saying whatever you want. Like this is not how this is supposed to go. Even when I talk to ChatGPT, like ChatGPT still doesn't know. It doesn't understand this concept of like dating is a performance by definition. Dating is lying by definition. By the very definition, by the very act of dating, you are lying. You're lying. You cannot date and be truthful and open and honest. It's just not really a thing. Because nobody wants that. At least anybody who's going to date is not going to want that. Usually people who date are still very much, they're on a script. Like they have no idea what's going on. Right? They're just kind of going through the motions. They're doing what they see on television shows and on movies. And they're being what they think the opposite sex wants or whatever. And what their parents want them to be, what their friends, they're trying to be like their friends, and it's just ridiculous. So usually somebody who would be into like you just as a person, you being honest and open and just real from the jump, usually they probably wouldn't go on a date with you, right? They wouldn't be the one that goes on a date with you or makes like a dating profile. Dating is a clown performance, says Michael Alexandrov. Yeah. Yeah, we think dating is a cringe concept. Yeah, it's strange. And I don't know if this opinion that I'm talking about as far as dating just being completely a pretend performance. I don't know if this is a product of a combination of social media or just how bad things have gotten between men and women in the West. The fact that men are or women are effectively men nowadays. That men really don't have anything to offer women anymore, right? I don't know if it's necessarily that. And it's just kind of like I'm coping. I'm creating some sort of reason to cope with the fact that I really don't have anything to offer them anymore, right? Aside from my biting wit and my complete lack of care for whatever happens, right? My complete nonchalance, my complete mocking of everything, everything really, everything. Um, so I don't know if it's this sort of this coping thing with that, the fact that I really don't have anything to offer them that none of us do, that they already have really everything, and whatever they need from us, they can extract it in ways where they don't have to actually deal with the person anymore. I've talked about this. They can extract and distill the essential things that they need from a man without actually having a man, right? Without actually having to date a man or have him live with you or deal with all the other bullshit that he brings along that they don't want to deal with. And the same for men with women. So it could be this sort of thing that's going on. Or it could be the fact that you just reach such a state of seeing through, the layers of delusion in this world, right? The layers of conditioning, the layers of brainwashing. You see through, you understand yourself a lot more. You have just more higher awareness, higher consciousness, if you want to say. And once you reach that certain level, you've really just basically just taken yourself out of the gene pool, out of the dating pool, because you see that it's almost just like pretend, right? It's just something that foolish people do, and it just has no, it's just funny. It's almost like when I walk by people who are on a date at like restaurants and stuff, if I can tell that a man and a woman are on a date in a restaurant, it's almost like I just want to look at them and be like, guys, come on. What are you doing? Come on. You know that you know this. You know that this is ridiculous. Come on, you really believe this? You guys really believe each other, the nonsense that you guys are saying? Come on. But if I did that, if I walked up and said that to them, they would genuinely think I was crazy. Like I'm a crazy person. They would look at me so confused. Like what? Like what are you even talking about? Like they wouldn't even compute. It wouldn't even compute to them. Cuz it's real for them. It's still real for them, right? Everything that's going on, the things that they're saying, the person that they're trying to fake to be to the other person across the table, that's all real to them. They believe it. So, you know, Azam sends the €2 and says, I found your evil twin on YouTube today. Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you. Kind of open-ended there. Isn't going to tell me who it is. Do you want me to ask? I don't know. I kind of like the suspense. Maybe we'll just leave it there. So it's just a weird thing. If I'm ever going to have a woman in my life, I get in certain periods where I swear the only way that I'll have a woman in my life is if she genuinely just wants to be in it and I didn't really have to do anything. I mean, I know how that sounds. It sounds lazy. It sounds selfish. It sounds like I don't want to do anything, but sorry, I don't know if it's masculine. or if it's just, again, you reach a certain point of understanding and awareness about things. But as a man, I don't like the idea of dating, how it's structured, and all of that just seems like people say it's like an interview, it's like a humiliation ritual. It very much is. And I kind of just want to get to the point where I'm so self-evident that, I can kind of just like pick, right? I can kind of just be like, okay, like, or it's so obvious, right? I want to get to the point where it's so obvious and women are just kind of, knocking at my door, barking at my tree, just kind of wanting, just kind of, I don't know if this is really a thing, except in theory, except in my mind, right? I wonder if there was ever a period in time in history where women approached men, you know? Do we know this, chat? I'd be curious because, I know once you start saying, I want women to approach me, all women and men, especially men that still approach women and, they're red pilled or blue pilled or whatever you want to say. They basically will just castigate you and smear you as just, you're a bitch, right? You're a bitch. You got no balls. You got no balls. You got no balls to go up to a woman and sit down for an interview and try to justify yourself and all this crap. Not to say that you can't sit down with a woman and not really justify yourself. You can go on a date and feel and just be kind of casual, easygoing. I'm sure you could do that. I'm sure there's a in between here, but still, it's just kind of weird. I'd rather just not do any of that. I'd rather just kind of have, just have it be easy. Just have it be easy. Like, hey, it's just kind of the most masculine thing. It's kind of the most masculine thing to not have to try or really put in work, to be so self-evident, right? You're the real deal. You've built up this life. You got a lot of value to offer. And so, when you have enough value, you don't have to tell anybody that you have it, right? You don't have to interview. You don't have to humiliate yourself. You don't have to. No, that's not for everyone. That's not for everyone. Maybe I'm just maybe I'm a small percentage of people, right? That just kind of don't want to do things the old fashioned way. It's just a lot of work. And like I said, I'm lazy. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of proving yourself. And I'm just not really interested in that. Not really interested in proving myself to anyone. I'd rather just, focus. And this is crazy because women say this too, focus on yourself. I'd rather just focus on myself. They're stealing our shit, man. They're stealing our shit. They're stealing everything that we say. It's like, but yet, no, that this doesn't really work for you guys. They think that the same rules that work for us work for them. I don't know, maybe it does, but every rule that they apply to themselves that actually applies to us, it seems to just drive us further apart. Because again, they're thinking that they're measuring themselves, their success and who they are and their status and their value in the ways that men do. And it's like, well then, I mean, I don't know. For all of human history, I feel like relationships have really been about value exchange, right? They've been about very material value exchange. Men wanted obviously sex and children, and for the children to be taken care of and the household to be taken care of. And then women wanted security and protection and resources and sex and kids and status. And so they exchanged those things. And now that we both don't really need each other for these things anymore, right? We don't, to get these things, we don't really need each other. Aside from sex, I guess, would be the one thing that we need each other for now. But everything else you kind of don't need each other for anymore. In fact, women, like I've said before, women, even if they wanted to go back and be traditional and to stop working, they actually can't do it. They can't do it because most men cannot provide for them and give them kids and security and protection with just his income. Most men can't do that anymore because of the society that we live in, because the money is so broken, because the economy is the way that it is. And it's only going to get worse. So women actually have to work. They have to. They have to. They can't be traditional. They literally can't. So you think, why can't I get a traditional woman? Why won't women just be traditional? Because they can't, actually. They literally can't. Even if they wanted to, they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. So when we're in this situation that women now have, I mean, think about, they have their own protection. They can abort kids, right? They can sleep around. They can make their own money, right? A lot of them are working, making their own money. In a lot of ways, they can provide for themselves and have more freedom of expression, sexual freedom, than they've ever had, right? They can vote and they have educated, right? They're more educated than they've ever been. They have full education. They're getting more educated than men are. So, you know, they're now more educated than us. They're making their own money now. They can sleep around now with no consequences, which also makes it easier for them to not be with one guy, right? A lot of why they used to have to be with one guy was because there weren't things like abortion or, you know, the contraceptive pill. So if you're sleeping around with a lot of guys, you know, the condom was only invented, I don't know, what was it, 1800 or something? I mean, before then, I mean, ever since, if you look at it, you know, Western societies with birth control, like the contraceptive pill, abortions, educating women, giving women more power, more rights, more freedom, more education, all this stuff, sexual freedom, all this stuff. It is always means that the birth rate just absolutely plummets, right? So you see, it's kind of this weird thing where like men and women actually never really, it's almost like they never really liked each other, right? They never wanted to be with each other for, you know, what we all pretend we want to be with each other for. Oh, they're just a great person, or I really enjoy their personality or their vibe or their energy or something about them that is that you can't point to or touch, right? Something immaterial, an X factor, just kind of their soul, right? It was never really about that. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't exceptions, that there aren't some relationships like that. Sure, there are, but for the most part, it was never about that. It was always about this material value exchange. And so when men no longer are able to offer women anything, and, you know, women are the gatekeepers of sex, right? You know, things just kind of, they're kind of over. They're kind of over because you can't, You can't offer them anything anymore. You can't, it's, you know? So yeah, I mean, the birth rate's going to plummet. And they have to work now. They actually have to work. You can't, most men can't provide for women just by their own income and children and a house and this and that to move up in the world. It's just not really a thing anymore. So it's not like women are, I mean, yeah, the brainwashing doesn't help and the feminism doesn't help. But I feel like brainwashing and feminism are almost a product of the money breaking so much and the economy going downhill so much that it means that women have to enter the workforce. It was kind of a way to, that came before sort of feminism and these ideologies. These ideologies probably only, gained traction because, I don't know, women had to start working, right? More and more men couldn't provide for women. And so feminism starts to look more attractive because now that men aren't wanting you and they can't provide for you and they're seeming less attractive to you, and now you have to work a little bit and you're spending more hours, part-time hours working at a shop or being some sort of secretary or something, and you're starting to get a little more, because you're not spending time in the home and just chilling anymore. Now you're working. Women are going to start to get a little more masculine. With the sexual revolution, getting on the contraceptive pill, changes their hormones, makes them more masculine. That also factors into it. Now feminism looks more attractive. They start searching for reasons why things are not great anymore, right? Why there's less and less men that can provide for them. Why they seem to have to start working, why more women around them and women that they know are starting to embrace working now. And, they're looking for a reason of why things suck. And so they say, you know what? It's the patriarchy. It must just be that we need feminism. We need women to get empowered. That way we'll all get together again. That way the birth rate will skyrocket. It's crazy that these women actually think, the more feminist we are, like the more that feminism comes on the scene, that's what's going to make the birth rate skyrocket. We just need to work more. We need to work harder. We need to make more money, and we need to get more educated, and we need to be more powerful and have more legal control and power in the system. That way, now we're really going to start pumping out kids. Now that way, men and women are really going to start getting with each other and going at it like rabbits. It's like, what? It's just crazy, bro. It's crazy. I'll get to all these super chats, by the way, but when I'm in a flow, I'm in a flow. So, this is why I say I kind of feel bad for women, because they really don't have like an option, right? They really don't have an option, and all of us are looking for reasons why things suck. Personally, I really do think that it is the money, but I think money is upstream from everything. If you start to corrupt the medium of value exchange between all participants in a society, you're corrupting the medium of energy and time exchange between all participants in a society. Yeah, you're going to everything's going to get fucked from there. So, women don't have a choice, man. They have to work, and they're going to have to work more, and they're going to have to get more educated. And, I don't know how this is going to turn out, but, kind of leads me into something about, I've talked about quality of life versus wealth and how those two things are different. It's interesting to think about, especially in the world that we're in today. Um, Here, maybe I can read these super chats first before I go into that. Let's see. Da 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 da. Kirk Caldwell sends the $5. Thank you, man. With nothing to say, I appreciate that. MCM XLIV says they're made to be talked at, not talked to. Like Jose, they don't exist. Yeah. It seems that way, doesn't it? It seems that way. It's very difficult to talk with women. I will say. I used to be able to talk with them a lot, but now I really can't do it. I only really look at them as a means for sex, and I don't say that with any sort of pride. I don't say that without any sort of self critique. It's not like I want it to be like that. It's not like I want it to be like that, but I can't stop pretending that it's not that. It's just the fact that I would never really be with a woman or get with a woman if she didn't give me sex. So, and I don't know. There's two sides to this because women seem to think that they want to get more intimate with us and they want to talk more with us, and that's how we get closer. And but then there's the male side of things, in which we feel like that only makes things worse. Just getting closer to women, talking with them more, engaging with their minds more, it only makes things worse. And it's this weird thing because it seems like a good thing to do, but it tends to make things worse. And I don't know. I mean, I have hopes. Or dreams, or I've heard of things like true love and soulmates, and just like we were watching Hani Ram the other day. She's a YouTuber. She's a mystical being, rather, not really a YouTuber, but she was saying something to the effect of like, intimacy is not sex, right? Intimacy is something that you have it's completely separate from sex. Intimacy comes before sex. Intimacy is what makes sex really good. Sure. But I mean, I don't know. It's just so it's hard to like want intimacy with a woman. I feel like I don't want intimacy with a woman, I guess. It's not really something that I think about. On a daily basis. I don't really think, man, I just want intimacy with a woman. I almost never have that thought. I don't see women and I'm like, you know what? I want to sit down and I want to talk with her. I never think that. And I'm not saying that this is right. I'm just saying that this is what is. This is what's actually the truth. And I can understand that it might not be ideal or it's not the right way to think, but I can't help it. I think when I look at women, I think, man, I'd really like to bang her. I'd like to have sex with her, and everything trying to have intimacy is what I do, trying to talk with them, trying to make conversation and make them laugh and make them comfortable and make them feel safe and make them feel secure, make them feel like I like them for them is only done with the intention, the goal of having sex with them. Okay? Like that's just the truth. Like that's just the truth. If women are wondering what we want sex. And yeah, it's crazy because you might think, well, what's so great? It's just sex. Like it's just nothing. I mean, it's kind of gross actually, it's all these bodily fluids getting exchanged, weird smells and shit, you know. And both naked, both kind of feeling vulnerable, especially women. Their eyes are kind of wide. They kind of don't know what they're doing. They feel like they have to perform like women in porn. Like I get it. It's a very strange thing. And you feel like women probably feel like they're going to get used, right? They don't want to be used for their body. I understand. I understand. But I mean, I mean, you have to ask yourself like any sort of real connection. Women have to ask themselves any sort of real connection that you have with a man where he makes you feel comfortable, he makes you feel at home, makes you feel secure, makes you laugh, makes you feel good, all warm and fuzzy inside, puts you at ease, makes you relaxed, right? You always have to have it in the back of your mind. Is he just doing this just so he can have sex with me? And I would say 99% of the time that the answer to that question is yes. It's not for any other reason. Um, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a soulless, heartless fuck. You know. Maybe I'm not like most people. It's possible. I mean, I think that's actually obvious, but in this in this sort of way, in this sort of sexually dynamic way, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not like most people. Um, I don't know. All this, it just seems like there's more and more. I feel like I got women when I was younger because it was easy, right? It was easy, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't. It was easy because they weren't like feminist, and they didn't have all these ideas in their head from social media about what they needed to make a man do or all these things. It was just simpler times back then. It was easy. You just kind of, if it kind of seemed like women kind of knew that you wanted sex and they were okay with it because they want sex too. It wasn't this thing of they shame you for it or they make you feel guilty for it, make you feel like lesser of a person for saying that well, look, I'm really sexually attracted to you. I don't really want sex from you, you know? I mean, that was never explicitly stated, but implicitly, it was always very apparent, very obvious. Um, but you have to, even back then, you had to do a little dance. You had to do a little performance. You had to fake. You had to fake. And I guess it was easier when you're younger because you don't know that you're faking. You don't know that you're performing. Um, but women, when they're all the dealings with women that I've had were in my early 20s, late teens, right? So like high school, college age. Women are just way more, they don't have ideas of the world yet. Their hormones are raging. They haven't been, a lot of them haven't been fucked over by a guy yet, or they haven't been fucked over by enough guys yet. And so they're still kind of trusting and everything's just kind of easy with them. They just kind of let things happen. Um, course, I was younger back then, so that probably helped. But as you get older, especially now with social media, teenagers now consume all this stuff about men, and the same with men. They consume all these things about women, and all their heads are filled with all this stuff, and it just creates all these barriers. Nobody wants to be screwed over. Nobody wants to be fucked over. Everybody's scared that they're going to get played, or they're going to get ghosted, or they're going to get all these things. And it just makes it harder. Makes it a lot more difficult. I don't know. It's just, it sounds strange, but I just wish. But again, I don't really. It's also weird because I don't actually go out and talk to women or put myself in social positions with women that often. Kind of stay home as much as possible. So I don't know, maybe if I went out, some women would approach me. I'm sure maybe some would if they're drunk. I mean, I've had women approach me in bars before. They're usually drunk, right? They have to get some sort of liquid courage going, but I don't know, maybe I don't know. Maybe that's kind of my plan, is maybe I'll just go out to a bar, and maybe I'll just start going out to bars, and then whoever is the next woman who just kind of approaches me half drunk and she's kind of decent, I'll be like, all right, cool. We'll do something. As long as I don't have to do anything, as long as I don't have to like interview or go through a million steps, jump through a million hoops to show you how valuable I am, um, then that could be what we do. That could be a thing that we do. That could be a way forward, but um, the thing is, man, I get, like, just yesterday I delivered, these things happen all the time, but I know that women are interested, right? I'll have women that are interested in me, okay? And I'm not saying this as to like flex. I'm not flexing, okay? You get the body language, you get the eyes, you get the energy, right? They smile at you. They're looking at you longer. You get these things. These are things that are real, And for me though, the thing is, man, it's hard. It's hard for me because I don't feel like, I've said this before, but they see just my physical appearance. And from then on, it only gets worse because I don't make that much money. My age is 33. I'm older. I live in a basement. I'm really embarrassed of this basement, bro. I don't want to take a woman back here. You know? I'd want to offer her something a little better than this. Like a standard 1-bedroom apartment is what I think I would have to offer most women. Okay? I don't really want to bring anybody back here. And that's a thing with me. That's the thing with me. I would need a clean, well-organized standard 1-bedroom apartment to bring women back. Um, I don't really want to subject women to this, It's not really, you know, it's just kind of a thing where I don't want to bring you into I don't want this to be the first thing that you see. I don't know. So it makes it hard. Makes it hard. Plus, porn is just so easy. It's just so easy. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You don't have to deal with any of this. You don't have to move. You don't have to focus of moving out of your basement, you know? You don't have to worry of them having a crazy personality 6 months into it. Because porn stars don't have a crazy personality 6 months into it, right? You don't have to worry about them suddenly just going cold and ghosting. Porn stars don't ghost. They're always there for you. You don't have to worry about them not wanting sex for 2 weeks and just going cold. Porn stars always want it. Chicks on the hub always want it. And, they're just the most submissive, slutty creatures in the world. And a lot of them are pretty hot. So, and I think this is a real huge element of why it is another element of many elements of why men and women are not getting together as much anymore, because the hub is so stimulating and it's so novel, right? You can get so many different women in such a short period of time. Said another way, you can see so many different buttholes in a span of 10 minutes, right? You can see 100 buttholes in 10 minutes. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy, bro. Think about that. You would have never been able to do this in any other period in history, period in time. For men, this thing is like, I mean, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy. And as soon as you're done with them, you don't have to cuddle with them. You don't have to hear their nonsense. You don't have to hear them like guilt you or shame you or do little shit tests or tactics. No, you just turn them off, right? You just turn off the VPN, close out, delete the browser history, and like you're good to go. You're good to go. And you can just turn on tennis and you're chilling. So this is this extraction part of we've extracted. Men also have been able to extract what they need from women without actually dealing with the real woman, right? In fact, more so. Now you don't have to have one woman that you have sex with. You can have sex with 300 women. And I know you're not actually doing it, but the fact that you can see it, you can see them effectively naked as you would in your bedroom, on a huge screen if you want, on VR if you want. I mean, it's kind of like this trade-off of, do you really want to have sex with a real woman and be like, yeah, you know what? I'm banging the real thing. I'm banging a real life woman. Congratulations, man. You did it. Now come all the downsides with it, though. She's a feminist. She's radical. She has a full medicine cabinet. She's crazy. She's depressed. She's anxious. She has 40 personalities. Okay? And she's going to be hot and cold. She's going to be ghosting left and right. She's going to be shit testing, guilting you, shaming you, all these different things. Okay? Playing with your mind, manipulating your mind. Is that really worth you just being able to say, you know what? I banged some real puss today. I banged some real puss. Okay, congratulations, bro. You're 3 days away from being committed to an insane asylum because she has driven you absolutely up the walls. She's driven you nuts. Congratulations, man. Congratulations. You got a real flesh and blood woman on your belt. You can go brag to all your friends. You can go brag to all your friends. But you can't because, she doesn't let you have friends. Or all your friends are dealing with their women, trying to make their women happy, right? Just all the things that comes with being with a real flesh and blood woman. You got to worry about what she wants, and you got to worry about, what, are you going to have kids? Got to think about that. Where does this thing progress? Are you guys, where is she? Who's she talking to her on her phone? All these things you don't have to worry about with the hub. You don't have to worry about it. You get the thing that you want, You get the thing that you want, and it's not just one woman, it's 100 of them, and they're a lot hotter than your girlfriend or your would-be girlfriend, and they're not going to drive you crazy, and you don't have to deal with any of their stuff. They're not even in the room with you as soon as you're done, you know, beating it. So it's just this weird it's this weird Black Mirror episode that we're all living in, where, you know, what the hell are we even doing? We're extracting, it's like we all live online now. Like, look, it's this crazy thing where I'm starting to notice that, like, we're starting to, it's like it's like that saying, we all live online now. We just all live online. Like, the online world's starting to become more real than the physical world, because online you can get to know people through a barrier, through a filter, through you can gauge them in a way where they're not in the room with you, right? This is a real, it's a real thing. Um, because people in and of themselves are almost weapons in a way. They're almost weapons. They're almost like, people are dangerous. Yeah, they can benefit you, but they're also dangerous. There's good and there's bad. So being online almost allows you to be in the comfort, the safety of your own home, get to know people, and you can vet them. You can put your boundaries in place, set barriers, allow them to encroach, or allow them to come into your physical life incrementally, in a slow way, in a way that you can gauge and manage. This didn't really used to be a thing. You didn't really get to know a person fully online and see how they are and how they act. Watch them on a 2-3 hour live stream, you know, in the comfort of your own home, where you don't have to worry about saying anything back to them, or if you do say anything back to them, you don't have to worry about what they think of it, because they're not in the room with you. You have to worry about how you come off to them, like all these things. So it's this weird thing where we're all getting to know each other online, and I don't know, maybe that's the way that men and women, get together in the future, is they get online and they watch hours and hours of content of another person, and they see, you know what, this person's kind of cool. And then, you can see so much more about a person. You see so much more than going on a first date with them. I feel like it's a crazy, like, say you watch 20 hours of a person doing a podcast or doing videos. Well, it depends, kind of, because a lot of people make videos in a performative way where they're not actually being themselves. It's very curated. But for certain people on the internet, they're actually being very authentic. So it allows for people to show who they are and be authentic in sort of a safe way, where people won't judge them, or they won't judge them in a way that they can't gauge and manage. And then it allows other people to view them and see who they are and how they are. And you get to know them so much more than you would over, I feel like, going on, dating someone for 3 weeks or dating someone for 2 months, right? You watch 10 hours of somebody being authentic on their YouTube channel, you would get to know them a lot faster or you'd feel like you know them a lot more intimately than you would somebody that you go on a date with, somebody that you date for a month or two, because they're still being a fake person, right? It's this weird thing. It's this weird thing. Oh man. I'm on rants today, huh? Roddy Smith says, talking to a woman for fun, you will never achieve a higher state of consciousness. Your mind is everywhere. You're not at peace. That kind of confuses me. You say, talking to a woman for fun, you will never achieve a higher state of consciousness. But then you say your mind is everywhere. You're not at peace. So are you at a higher state of consciousness or are you not at peace? I feel like if you're at a higher state of consciousness, you're at peace though. So if you're not at peace, then you're not at a higher state of consciousness. It's a little confusing, but women are weird because women are, I feel like to talk to a woman, you have to, women are strange, bro. I feel like there's a lot in talking with women that is not serious. I feel like the best way to talk with women is for it to not be serious, right? Women don't want to be serious. When you talk with a woman, it has to be just like lighthearted and fun. It's kind of sound like Casey Zander right now, but kind of is true. I've noticed. And don't like try to be intelligent or like don't come off as, I mean, you can come off as whatever you want, but I don't know. What am I saying, bro? I don't even get women, so I shouldn't really be giving advice. But I've found that what works for me, what women most gravitate towards, and I don't, again, there's this whole theory about looks maxing. It only matters how you look. You can act like a complete nerd clown, start listing off all your attributes and what you've accomplished and ask, you know, start talking about some complex theories and shit. And just because you look like Clavicular or Brad Pitt, she's gonna want to suck your dick immediately. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's like that. I mean, I think that the looks play a great part in her being initially attracted to you. But if you start spewing off like some bumbling idiot or trying to give her your resume, you know, trying to qualify to her like you're some, like, oh yeah, I'm great and this is what I did, and trying to like, you know, women are a lot more intuitive than you think. You know, they have a lot of men that try to come at them all the time. I mean, they're constantly approached by men. So they have the upper hand with you. Um, they they probably get tons of men that come at them with a resume that try to be, you know, impressive or try to make them laugh over, you know, they're trying too hard, right? And just because you're attractive, it doesn't really, you know, they get tons of attractive men that come up to them or that they talk to on a daily basis if they're attractive themselves. So, you know, what seems to work for me is the less the better, right? The less you do, the better. Obviously, you can't take that to extreme. You have to talk, right? You have to say some things, but just ask them generic questions, right? Don't ask them super complicated questions. Don't go off on crazy tangents and monologues and shit. Just keep it lighthearted, fun. Just keep going down the question tree or, you know, um, honestly, questions are not even like, don't make it an interrogation. You got to kind of just say things back to them. A lot of the time you know, whatever they say, you just kind of say something back, kind of lighthearted. And then that's all. If they like you, then they'll just keep talking, right? That's kind of the way you know is you don't have to do, if a woman likes you, you don't really have to do a lot. You can kind of just say a little bit and then she'll keep talking. I feel like with most of them, but they're very, you know, just kind of the less you do, the better. The more lighthearted, the better. The more easygoing, the better. You know, if you're gonna make them laugh, do it in a very just subtle way, laid back way. But a lot of this, the thing about a lot of this is that I've discovered myself is that you you can't, none of this that I just spoke about, you can't do this until it's happening naturally for you. You can't like, you can't hear me talk about it or read books about it and then like go out and try to make it happen, try to be that. It's not going to come out. It's just not the right energy signature. It's not, you're not confident about it, right? You're not like actually, it's not who you are. It's just something that you know, something that you theoretically know and understand, but it's not who you are. You can only move and speak and be whoever you are, really. Everything else that you're trying to be that isn't who you are is going to show. It's going to show as if, oh, he's trying to be someone that he's not. And this is subtle. This is all energy. It's not something that she's going to be able, nobody can actually pinpoint this, right? But she will know. And like for me, I would have never been able to get on a live stream and start talking to people until 2 or 3 weeks ago when I actually started doing this, because it was something that I just felt like, oh, I can do this now. Like this is something that's actually something that I can do. For a long time, I just felt like I couldn't do this. And same with, yeah, I feel like I've been getting more talkative, not just with women, but with people in general when I do my deliveries and my pickups and stuff. The last 3 weeks, basically since I've been doing these live streams, something happened. You know, I got out of that winter. We barely made it out of that winter. Winter Storm Fern almost killed us all. I barely got out of it, and something happened. I don't know. I mean, I barely survived, bro. I was in a really dark place there, and I think your boy upstairs just like cut me some slack finally. Like finally. And I just started not even intentionally consciously trying, but I noticed that I was talking to customers now. I was just shooting the shit with them. And I was enjoying it, even though it's superficial, it's fake nonsense talk, it's matrix talk, right? We're all just getting plugged in here, but it's just kind of what you do. And I was talking to men, I was talking to women, I was talking to anybody. I was like, what the hell? I was talking to my buddy on the phone. I was like, dude, I think there's something wrong with me. I don't know what's going on with me, because like I'm actually talking to people now and I actually enjoy it. What the hell is this? I used to just hate, like I would feel hatred for people, right? And I wouldn't even want to talk to them. I'd want them to understand. I would want them to feel in the elevators when they were riding up with me. I'd want them to feel the hatred that existed inside of me. I wanted them to feel how much I disliked them and I didn't want to talk to them. All right, especially women. And like, I don't know, that just doesn't really exist anymore. I don't know what happened. It left. It left my body. I don't know what happened. Did I open up a chakra or something? I don't know what the hell happened, dude, but I swear to God, I popped a chakra. Something happened. Something mystical, weird happened. So, maybe all those videos that I was making where I was just like going crazy, getting all the crazy out, getting all the gunk out. Maybe it finally did something, but um real, I think, just, and I'm not saying it's a womanizer. I'm not saying that's somebody that gets women, right? You guys all know this, but I'm starting to feel as if I know that connection, real connection with people, being good with people, being good with women, having it feel effortless and natural, and just a confidence where you're not self-conscious about it. You're not thinking about where the conversation is going to go. You're kind of just flowing with whatever happens, and you're chilling in that flow and that stream. That's something that happens in its own time. That's something that happens organically. That's something that just occurs. It's not something that you try to make happen. You can't make anything happen. You can't try to make anything happen before it's time. Before it's time, right? Everything has a time and the right conditions. Until you're it, you're not going to be it. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. All right, let's get back to the super chats. Azam said, my evil twin on YouTube, his name's Lucas Simpson. Okay. All right. I might check him out. Interesting. Lucas Simpson. MCMXLIV said 1962, J. Calhoun created the rat utopia. Result, extinction. I've heard about this. This is going on. This is going around. A lot of people are talking about the rat thing, the mice thing. Females wouldn't mate. Males became sexual deviants and only emerged to eat when others were asleep. Though able to reproduce, they had lost the social skills to mate. Yeah. Yeah, we might have to do some sort of comparison of the rat utopia to the current state of men and women, maybe in one of these streams. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't exactly know. I mean, yeah, extinction, but wasn't it an overabundance of, was it an overabundance of food and water that they got? There was some reason why they all went extinct. Um, yeah, I'm not sure quite how that worked. But yeah, I'll be interested. Maybe we can look it up later. Maybe we can look it up later. Remind me about the rat utopia. That's might be interesting. Caldwell sends the $5 and says, a married woman came on to me last night. Whoa. Hey, damn. At a bar. These days, girls are still dating even when married. Yeah. Yeah. That's a thing, bro. That's a thing. Yeah, that's just kind of welcome to the world, man. I mean, it's a crazy place. Tons of married women are sleeping around, you know. It's just kind of how it is. I mean, I think they kind of always have, but yeah, at higher rates now than they used to, for sure. Um, Curious, what did you do? What did you do? Did you entertain it? Did you bang? Not into married women? I don't know, it's kind of forbidden. Kind of it's kind of awful, you know. You know that you're, I don't know, that's what makes it so appealing to me. I'm telling you guys, something wrong with me, man. Just got a darkness in me. At this point, the only conversation I want with a woman is how much and are you a cop? Yeah. No, I get it. I get it, humble legend. Yeah, because, you know, I don't really I don't really understand why they are so, well, you know, they just have more they have more of a stance to which from which to dictate their terms. That's the thing about women now. They used to get with men, like I said, because they kind of had to, right? They didn't want to die, or if they, for everyone to approve of them, right? Because promiscuous sex was not approved of. Now it's completely fine. Everybody's fine with women having tons of sex, right? They weren't educated, right? So they didn't really know what the hell they were doing. Didn't really have a lot of opportunities in the workplace. They weren't really getting hired. Um, but now that's completely changed. They have this, a lot of the legal system wasn't in their favor for a lot of human history. So women would get with men for out of fear and out of necessity, right? Now, you know, yeah, that did get, men were getting a lot more sex back then, but I don't know if they really, I don't know if they really ever liked us, right? They were just kind of doing it to survive. They were doing it from a pure survival aspect. But now, because they're so educated and so powerful and they make their own money, they can dictate all these things. Now I want this, now I want that, and now I'm not gonna sleep with this guy because I don't need him for anything. And you know, so you just get a ton of men that are just kind of fed up with, you know, there's just more standards that these women have now, higher standards. You got to be more, you can't, you know. It is a thing. It is a thing. Proxy War sends the $5, says, "Do you still fuck with semen retention? What are your current thoughts on this lifestyle? Is it worth it?" Um, yeah, I still fuck with semen retention. Current thoughts on the lifestyle. I'm not militant like most people are in the semen retention community. It's very much tied to religion. Just know that a lot of people who are on semen retention, they're very much religious. They seem to be Protestant. They believe in the Bible. So just know that it has a huge religious undertone. And that's kind of what deterred me from it. A lot of them are very militant about it. They think that it's everything. And they think that, you know, if you ejaculate, you are, you know, you shouldn't be listened to. You're nothing. You're weak for, you know, until you start to build your reserves back up again. You're basically a woman. You're basically, you know, you're just like they put their entire identity in the retention or the ejaculation of semen. It's just it's strange. It's strange, in my opinion. You know, I used to be that kind of person. You know, I mean, I never really was super religious. I was never religious about it, but I never, you know, I kind of went to war. I kind of butted heads with the guys that were very religious about it. But I still do think that it's good to be sexually disciplined and to probably ejaculate less than you um um or what am I saying? Ejaculate less often. Don't ejaculate more often than you ejaculate. Don't ejaculate more often than you do, right? So, and I would think the higher the ratio, the better, right? Um, Sexual discipline is good, but I mean, yo, you got to be practical. You gotta understand the world that you're living in. You know, we have the hub at a click of a button. It's always there. So there's naked women, tons, thousands, you know, doing all the craziest shit, and it's only going to get more extreme and more stimulating and more, um, you know, engaging, interactive. So you just gotta understand what world you're living in. Um, but yeah, I still fuck with it. It's still good. I like it. Um, but I don't talk about it really anymore because I don't really, to be honest, I don't really want the guys that are into semen retention anymore because they're weird. They're weird, okay? They're just weird. And you know, I don't know. They're just a strange bunch. They're a strange bunch. But yeah, try to be sexually disciplined. Come up to Baltimore Fed Hill bar scene with me, Dylan Martin says. Appreciate it, dog, but I ain't never going to Baltimore, bro. I ain't trying to get shot. The dangerous city, and it's terrible. It's gross. It's Baltimore's like the worst city in the United States. Awful. But nothing against you, my G. But appreciate the invite though. Um, Modern relationships for men have become more like babysitting sessions, says Sludge Monkey. Since the 40. Wow. Thank you, man. Yeah, I mean, it's weird because yeah, it's babysitting in a way because you basically have to deal with all the mood swings, craziness of women. Um, they can basically get away with a ton of different emotional outbursts and swings, mood swings because they are women and they're emotional, right? They can use that. That's why everybody just kind of gives women a get out of jail free card for that sort of thing. Because they're women and they're emotional, and so you're supposed to, and men are supposed to handle it and supposed to contain them, right? Containment. There was this really popular uh female dating coach. I forget her, Teal Swan, I think is what her name is. She has a video that's about, it's like 2 million views about like containment. You have to contain a woman. It's all about containment. And it's just like, bro, why do I have to contain you? Why can't you contain yourself? um, but yeah. Oops. Let's see if I can find it. But then again, it kind of feels like babysitting. I can see how women are babysitting men because a lot of these dudes in relationships nowadays just kind of seem like they're being ordered and like bossed around and being guilted and shamed. It's a mother-son dynamic. All these modern relationships are mother-son dynamics more than they are father-daughter dynamics, you know? And just a lot of these modern relationships, there's just these dudes that are getting, they got a baby on the front. They got like a vest on where the baby's sitting on his chest, and then got another baby in the stroller, and the woman's just walking in front of him, and she's bossy. She looks mean, and he's like balding and shit. Like you see this all everywhere in like DC. all around the streets of DC, man. See all these relationships. Like all these women, I mean, I just wouldn't even waste my time with because they're so difficult to get a hold of. They're just on their own war path. They're just on a war path, dude. It's like I can't I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with you. You know? I'm not going to try to stop you like it's too exhausting. So like if you want to go rampage, you want to go warpath. Like I'm good. Like I'm good, I can't I'm not going to try to make you into you can't break a wild horse. I can't do that, right? They're just they're a lost cause. Women are just really lost causes. So, um but yeah, babysitting a session in the sense of containment, like you have to contain all a woman's um teal swan containment. Yeah, this video right here. Um, Maybe we can watch it. MCMXLIV says sends €5. Thank you. Says for the ones arguing against the rat thing, we are in a utopia. 99.9% of our history, we couldn't order food online, etc. Basic needs have been met by. He dipped. He dipped. He's done. He's done. I don't know if he actually dipped, but basic needs have been met. That actually brings me to an interesting point about basic needs being met. maybe we'll take Teal Swan off for a bit. But this whole quality of life versus wealth thing, like we have basic needs being met. It's a weird thing because I can sit here often and if I look at my life, I can be very grateful for what I have. My if I'm being genuinely honest about my life is not that bad. I have a lot. I have more than most people on this planet. You have to think, and not only more than most people on this planet living currently, but more than anyone that's ever lived in history. We live at a time where we have more than anybody ever had. Even somebody that makes, if you make $2,000 a month, or you make $3,000 a month, well, it's depending on where you live, right? What city you live in. Do you live in a Western society? Do you live in a developing country? Yeah, but if you live in a Western society, a developed country, and you make $2,000 or $3,000 a month, depending on your bills, your overhead, your dating situation, whether you have a wife or a husband or kids or a home or anything like that, right? Personally, I keep my bills fairly low, and I rent out a basement from some Asians, and I'm 33, and the only real debt that I have is my car, and I have running water, I have AC, I have heat, I can order Uber Eats. I can order great food from the grocery store. I have peace and quiet. This is a quiet place. I have a shower. I can clean myself all the time. I can watch. I have YouTube TV. I have tennis TV. I can watch great things. I can stream with you guys online. I have all these books surrounding me that I can read and get educated on. This is not, if I'm being honest, I don't really have much to complain about. There's not really anything bad about this life. And I genuinely, I know that there's no women. I got no bitches currently. There's no puss, right? You can always focus on what you don't have. I don't have as nice of a car as I would like, or I don't have as nice of a place as I would like, but I'm okay. Like I'm okay. Like I'm actually very grateful for all the things that I have, because a lot of people do not have these things. And most people in human history did not have anything close to this. Nothing close to this. Now, obviously what this means is our quality of life is very high. What's interesting is that even though our quality of life is high, not only people in Western societies, but also people in developing countries, their quality of life is getting higher in some regard. Not saying that they are not way worse off than us and their quality of life is much worse than us. It is. But it is rising. I think it is rising. Probably slowly, but the weird thing is, even though our quality of life is higher than any previous civilization in human history, that seems to not matter to most people. You still get a lot of, most people in the United States or in Europe, they are increasingly unhappy with the way the country is run. They're unhappy with their economic situation, their economic outlook, their mating potential, their hopes for kids and a home. And the main thing that people are upset with is it seems like they can't improve their situation. And this is a wealth thing. So wealth versus quality of life. Yes, our quality of life is being risen, is higher. But a lot of people feel like they can't actually improve their life. That's the problem. And even though their quality of life is higher, like I've said before, there was a video that I made way back where I was comparing two different hypothetical scenarios where you could you could be a tribal leader back in some primitive time where you were living in a grass hut or a clay hut and you had to walk 5 miles to get water and you had to, run 10 miles a day to hunt some bison or hunt whatever, hunt and get meat. And there were always rival clans that might attack you in the middle of the night. And the, if you got a toothache at age 25, you might die. And you didn't have a dentist, right? A lot of people died by the age of 30 or 40 or something like that. Life expectancy was super low. But since you're a tribal leader and since you had more wealth than others around you in the tribe, then what that means is you were able to have kids, you were able to have maybe a wife or maybe multiple wives. You were able to improve your situation. You know, versus today where your quality of life is astronomically higher. Any person, like literally anybody, really anybody, has a higher quality of life than an ancient tribal leader. But your relative wealth compared to those surrounding you is a lot lower than the tribal leaders, right? And because your relative wealth is lower, it means that your quality of life might be great, but so is everyone else's. Everyone else's has the same. They all have the same quality of life as you do. People don't get upset about their quality of life. They get upset that they don't have a higher quality of life than the people around them. That they get upset that they can't increase their quality of life by their own means. It feels like even if they try to do it, there's something that stops them from doing it. There's no longer a ladder. There's no longer a path upwards. There's no longer upward trajectory. That's what people start revolutions for or get angry about. It's not necessarily that their quality of life is so low. It's just an interesting thing because, I can sit here and I can be grateful about my situation and my predicament and I have a lot of great things going on in my life. And yet, most people that live exactly like I do, and even me myself, we would all agree that the money is fundamentally broken, that your time and energy is being stolen from you silently, insidiously, invisibly, at all moments. And there's nothing that you can do about it unless you wanted to start a war, right? And because of this, you're not getting women because you don't have anything to offer them. Remember, you don't have anything to offer them that they can't offer themselves, that they don't have themselves, right? So you're only bringing problems. That's kind of the same thing with women today too, is women kind of only bring problems to us. We all have to work. Women can't even be traditional. They have to work in this society. So, yeah, it's just this. I guess I just thought that this was interesting. Um, it's just interesting. And there was something in Broken Money that kind of tied into this. I don't know if I can really find it. There's a lot of pages that I marked on Broken Money, but let's see if I can find it here. The light sucks. Where do we start here? 40. Yeah, maybe I can just read a few pages here. I think it kind of ties in with what I was talking about. But there's these things. I don't know how much you guys know about money and stuff. I don't know how much of this will make sense to you. I think this book is phenomenal, by the way. Maybe I can hold it up. Broken Money by Lynn Alden. Fantastic book. Fantastic book. If you want to understand everything about our financial system, about not only the U.S. financial system, but the entire world's financial system, everything about it, from how it's been run since ancient times to all the way up to present day, and all the myriad problems with it and potential solutions, all this stuff. It's just a great book. But she says, however, in a highly indebted financial system where the money supply usually grows substantially over time, deflation is often caused by liquidity crises and recessions. Deflation is the lowering of prices, right? So inflation, it means that prices are increasing. Deflation means that prices are decreasing. And therefore gets assigned a bad reputation. As companies mature and grow more slowly in an environment of persistent currency debasement and recurring liquidity support from central banks, they are encouraged to maintain permanent corporate debt in their capital structure, and this type of practice requires constant currency debasement to make sense. Currency debasement means that another way of saying that is prices go up. Much like how bloodletting used to be an overused medical procedure that we now know only helps in certain specific contexts, I don't think future historians will look favorably on the current view among mainstream economists that we need constant price inflation and currency debasement for the economy to run well. A framework of constant inflation is primarily meant for 1. Constantly promoting the use of credit rather than savings. 2. Gradually but persistently devaluing debts. 3. Constantly dulling the price signals that our volatile world gives to us to act upon. And 4. Allowing governments to run persistent fiscal deficits as a form of non-transparent taxation. These goals primarily benefit those near the core of the system, such as the governments, corporations, and financiers. This is further complicated by the fact that we can't even measure inflation precisely. The official government measure of inflation is a basket of goods and services that is weighted in such a way that it tries to replicate what the average person buys each year. It also assumes substitution. So, for example, if a ribeye steak goes up in price, it factors that out from the basket of goods and switches to cheaper ground beef, since that's the consumption pattern that the consumer now faces higher ribeye prices opts for. So basically what she's saying, so the CPI is basically the measure of inflation. And CPI is the government constructs CPI with a basket of goods. And what they can do is they can actually, they can artificially manufacture a certain number. And like what she was saying, if ribeye steak goes up in prices, then what the government will actually do, instead of putting the ribeye steak in this basket, they will instead put in cheaper ground beef into this basket. They will remove ribeye from this calculation because it went up in price. Because their rationale is, well, if people see that ribeye steak is worth more money, it's going up in price, then what they're going to do rationally is they're going to stop buying ribeye steak and they're going to start purchasing a lot more ground beef. So what we're going to do is we're actually just going to put the ground beef price in the basket of goods that goes into calculating CPI, Consumer Price Index. So they can so what they do is, if a lot of things, goods and services, especially things that we need, things like housing, things like food, things like energy, the things that we actually need to survive and to, improve our lives. If those things tend to go up at higher rates than your wages, which they always do, then what they're going to do is they're going to offset those higher prices with things that are actually decreasing in price. A lot of things like that we don't need, things like TVs, computers, um, you know, just little knickknacks, toys, chips, things that people don't really need that much. A lot of it is technology. They'll put those in the basket to lower the inflation. But just know that CPI, what the government says is the inflation, right? They aim for a 2% inflation rate, which is actually a 2% debasement rate of the money. It means that they want to steal 2% of your time and energy per year. That's what they aim for. That's another way of saying that, by the way. But they aim to steal 2% of your energy and time a year. But that is what's considered the gold standard. That CPI is just a basket of goods that they can manufacture however they want. So it's an artificial, it's not a real number, basically. It is not giving you actually the increase in prices of what actually matter, things that you want. But yeah, we'll keep going here. Therefore, the inflation measurement is programmed to avoid high price items and keep resetting towards cheaper items, which end up systematically understating inflation. In 1913, when the Federal Reserve was created, there was 19.31 billion in broad money. We're getting into broad money and base money now. Maybe that's too much. Maybe that's too much for you guys, but but anyway, broad money is basically just all the money in the system. Just think of broad money as like all the money in the system, all the money that banks lend, all the deposits in banks. That's all just broad money. It's different from base money. But at the end of 2022, there was 21.4 trillion in broad money, which is an increase of 1,118 times over, or an average of 6.6% per year when compounded for 109 years. So the broad money increased by 6.6% per year. Ask yourself, do you get a 6.6% raise in your wages every year? I would argue that you don't. Most people, there's no way that they do, actually. Nobody gets an increase of 6.6 or 6.6 rate wage increase a year. Nobody gets that. That's crazy. If you ask your boss for that, he'd like laugh you out of the room. And you'd need that per year. It's crazy. The scarcest things, such as luxury waterfront property and fine art from famous deceased artists, tend to go up in price as fast as the money supply does. That's because these things are truly finite. We don't get more efficient at making them. As a result, as more money is created, it pushes up the prices of those goods by nearly the same rate. As an example, one particularly well-documented Miami Beach waterfront property was originally sold for $100,000 in 1930, and by 2022 was worth around $30 million, which was a 6.4% compounded annual growth rate, and that was closely in line with the growth rate of the money supply over that long period. Semi-scarce things such as gold, oil, beef, and medium homes tend to go up in price at a 4 to 5% annual rate if money supply growth is 6 to 7%. Because we get moderately better at producing them over time due to better technology. A barrel of oil, for example, went from an average of 95 cents in 1913 to an average of $94 in 2022, which was only a 100-fold increase, or a 4.3% compounded annually. The price of beef similarly increased at a 4.1% compounded annual rate from the 1930s through 2022. Really, these things shouldn't be going up in price at all, but they do. Even just the beginning of the year 2000 and the end of the year 2022, there was a significant divergence. The broad money supply per capita grew at an annual compounded rate of 6.8% per year during that time frame, while the official consumer price index grew at a 2.6% compounded rate. The gold price increased by 8.3% a year. The price of hospital services grew by 5.3% per year. The oil price grew at 4.7% per year. The median house price grew by 4.7% per year. Childcare prices grew by 4.2% per year. Average hourly earnings for non-supervisory workers went up by 3.2% per year. The average bank account had a yield of less than 2% per year. Apparel was flat in price, so like clothes. Electronics, plastic toys, and software of all sorts dropped in price. So it's just crazy, man. It's crazy. Oh, this is good. This is a good part. This is a good part of the book. There was a heated exchange on this topic in 2011 when William Dudley, the president of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, spoke to a partially working class audience in Queens. When asked questions about recent food inflation, commodities had been in significant bull market during the recent years. That's in parentheses. But when asked about questions about recent food inflation, Dudley pointed out that while energy and food prices may indeed be higher, that this was offset by other things. He pointed out, for example, that the iPad 2 helped bring down the average, which didn't go over well. As Christina Cook reported from Reuters, Dudley tried to explain how the Fed sees things. Yes, food and energy prices may be rising, but at the same time, other prices are declining. He then stretched for a real-world example. The only problem was, he chose the Apple's latest tablet computer that hit stores on Friday, which may be more popular at the New York Fed's headquarters near Wall Street than it is on the gritty streets of Queens. He said, "Today you can buy an iPad 2 that costs the same as an iPad 1. That is twice as powerful. You have to look at the prices of all things." This prompted guffaws and widespread murmuring from the audience, with one audience member calling the comment tone deaf. "I can't eat an iPad," another said. So I like that. I can't eat an iPad. But you can't eat an iPad. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. That's a great book, by the way. Things that don't really matter are going down in price, but the things that we actually need, things like food, energy, housing, hospital care, like healthcare services, those things are going up. And they're going up more than your wages are. So it's a little weird, but the library cop 3,000 cents $5. He says, "How would you compare our current socioeconomic situation in the US with Iran before the 1979 revolution?" Bro, you think that I'm someone I'm not. I'm not equipped to talk about that. You give me a lot of credit, man. You gave me a lot of credit with that question, but that is a question that I cannot answer. I know my limits. I know my limits. That is simply a question that I cannot answer. I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about the US's economic situation with Iran before the 1979 revolution. Sledge Monkey sends $40. He says, "True about our time and money being stolen. It's a shame we haven't done something about it, though." Yeah, things haven't gotten bad enough. Things haven't gotten bad enough. Pretty soon, your time and money won't be stolen. Your time and energy. Time and energy won't be stolen from you. You just won't have a job. You'll just get universal basic income. We'll all get like $2,000 a month. And all the robots will be doing everything. MCMXLIV says, I build accounting software, by the way. Shit is monotonous, but never boring. Let's crunch your numbers, buddy, and get you out. LOL Moses. Crunch my numbers. Get me out. Counting software? Get me out? Moses? Is that a Bible reference? Did they get Moses out of somewhere? Dude, I've never read the Bible. And it's on my list though. The Bible's on my list. um I think I'm pretty good with money. I think I'm all right with money. The thing, my problem is I just need more income, really. I just really struggle with income. That's always what I've struggled with. Well, I've always struggled with net worth and income, but mainly I just struggle with income nowadays. It's just income. I just need to up my income and then I'll be good. I understand money pretty well. But yeah, there's probably a lot of you never know how much you're spending a month. No. Um, Maybe we'll just talk now. Maybe we'll just talk. We're at the 2 hour mark. We can't make this too long. I talked a lot more than I intended today. Hopefully everyone forgives me for that. Alice says job fried her nerves, responsibility level was too high. It's never ending stress. Yeah. Honestly, dude, I think a lot of the work that we do, everyone's job, it's just too stressful. A lot of the things that I think a lot of people just are, they're doing way too much. They're doing way too much with way too little energy. You're just going to stress yourself out. A lot of people don't have as much energy as they think they do, and they're trying to do way too much. Especially all the jobs that we have, they're trying to make you do way too much with like no energy. No wonder everyone's so stressed, man. Everyone just needs to relax. We need to relax, Max. Relax, maxing. That's how we like start healing. It's not worth it. There was so I was driving was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. Saturday. I was driving down the streets of DC, just kind of all around in this area. It was on the freeway and in like certain parts of Alexandria, and it was all over the place. There was all these I don't even know if they're called protests, but they were. Have you guys ever heard of the No Kings movement? No Kings. It's just called No Kings. And dude, they were everywhere out here. Like everywhere. There were so many of them, bro. No Kings is getting big. Remember that name, No Kings. They might start the Civil War. They have to be, a lot of them are, white and liberal, and I think it's a very liberal movement, but yeah, there were so many of them. There had to be, must have seen at least a few thousand of them on the streets yesterday. Just, they all have signs, and they all like hate ICE. They hate ICE, and they hate I'm pretty sure they hate the war in Iran, and they hate Trump, obviously, and No Kings. Yeah, No Kings. By the way, Isaiah Paris deserves a shout out. He actually is very good at guitar. You guys should go subscribe to Isaiah Paris. He can play a hell of a guitar. I'm not going to play your video. I would need your consent. But this one, playing in the wood, that one he's playing the guitar. I haven't watched any of his other ones, but watch this one. And it's a great video. He can play the hell out of a guitar, bruh. I was impressed. You might be the next, I don't know. What do you want to be? Not Justin Bieber, maybe like next Coulter Wall or the next. Money is not worth your physical and mental health. Bro is the next Ed Sheeran. Yeah, maybe the next Ed Sheeran. Anal Thunder. Anal Thunder says, I love this long form content. Keep it up, man. Oh, thank you. Glad you like it. I'll keep it up. I can keep it up for you. Especially someone called Anal Thunder. Poopy 1206 says, Marshall noticed me. There you go. You have been noticed. Noticed. I notice you. I hereby notice you. I hereby dub thee noticed. Arise. Arise. A noticed being. Arise, noticed person. Paul Revere. Right off the fucking horse. Sends $7.99 of, I don't know what that is. Is that Australian dollars maybe? Oh yeah, he says Australia here. Hey Marshall, hope you're doing good out here in Australia, mad maxing with the fuel crisis. What does that mean? With the fuel crisis? What's going on in Australia? Is there a fuel crisis in Australia? Mad maxing? That sounds extreme. What, you starting to paint your face white and got some sort of harness with spikes on it? You have a mohawk, driving a, what are those things called? Some sort of souped up four-wheeler or something. Sounds wild. Australia turning into Mad Max? Shit. Once I start reading the comments, everyone wants to leave. I don't understand. Don't you want to? There seems to be viewers that don't really want to interact. I don't want to, they're not about community. They're just about information. They just want me as a product. I'm a product they consume. I'm just a person who tells them information. Oh, I just need information. I need a feed on information. Marshall, give me information. Once I start stop giving information, they just throw me away like a used rag. I got my use out of you. Don't want to interact with you. What are you, fucking nuts? Sigreen 667 contradicts Anal Thunder and says, I don't like it. I think this content is terrible. Damn, bro. Why are you here? Are you some sort of masochist? If you're a masochist, hey, maybe we can get something going. I happen to be a sadist, so. Notice me senpai? Asian? What does senpai mean? Is that my name? Isaiah says the second video, the encore, is even better. Okay, maybe I'll go and watch it. Start at 92 asked, are kids a good investment on this economy? I think you mean in this economy? No. No, kids are not a good investment. Investment? I mean, kids are, man, they don't really start paying off until 40 years down the line, my guy. Pretty much. Investment? Investment. No. In this economy, why do you think the birth rate is plummeting? Plummeting. People are not in a situation where they can have kids, where they can provide for kids. And it's just going to get worse. It's just going to get harder. Anal Thunder says, Marshall, please make more videos on the current government and their monopoly on violence and the injustices of the current system. I need that in my veins. Well, I fully intend to. Fully intend to. Humble Legend says the $5, and he says, what are your thoughts on the Drewski Erica Kirk skit, and would you date her? The Drewski Erica Kirk skit? I don't know what that is. Should we look that up? Drewski Erica Kirk skit? Oh boy. Drewski's going wild, isn't he? This one?
In what ways have you grown closer to Jesus?
I serve a righteous God. And that is why we say our prayers. And we are all his children.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Nash Show, and welcome.
Oh my God. No. What's up, everybody? Your boy. No. Erica Kirk is frightening. Frightening. A frightening person. I would not date Erica Kirk. I would probably bang her for sure. But I would not date her, no. I didn't see this.
Get on your feet, boy!
War is raging in Iran.
We're praying for all the soldiers and troops.
That's great that you're praying, but
How about all the kids that died when the USA hit the towers?
It broke my heart. That is the, oh.
In what ways have you grown closer to Jesus?
I serve a righteous God. And that is why we say our prayers. And we are all his children. But when I say children, I mean like the holy,
He kind
blessed
of looks like
Trinity,
her.
which is why I hold the Bible.
Kind of crazy that he looks like her.
Sweet cream foam chai ice matcha. And Bella will have all organic pup cup.
Organic.
Yes, everything organic.
Erica Kirk is
4, 3, 7. Oh, Hannah, you good? 4, 3, 2. Hold your chest lifted. We're gonna lift.
We have to protect all men
that
and
was probably a real class too.
America, especially all white men in America. Those are the boys that we care about in this country.
Erica Kirk is terrifying. She's a terrifying person. I mean, I think it's quite obvious. It's quite obvious that Erica Kirk is not human. I think anybody with a soul would see that clearly she doesn't have one. I just think it's obvious. I mean, I just think it's obvious. I mean, that's my opinion, but I mean, I don't know for sure, but I mean, the eyes, the eyes, she's just, I mean, I watched like an interview and she's just not right, bro. She's just not right. I mean, yeah, you don't do this when your husband just died. You don't do something like this. I mean, it's just the wildest thing. We're living in the wildest timeline, bro. Drewski went too far. No, he didn't. I don't know, just whenever you're reacting to things online, you don't even know what's real and what's not. $5 Sunday night with the boys. Thanks for the streams, Marshall. They've been pretty fun to tune into. Thanks, Beef. Thanks, Beef. I appreciate it. Isaiah says, yeah, you got my consent to play my videos anytime. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We might play one of those. She in Assad? Does she work for Assad? I don't know. You know the funny thing about truth? It's like, how would you even know if you knew the truth? Like, if you knew the truth, how would you know? How would you know that it's the truth? That's the weird thing about truth, man. You know what I'm saying? Poopy says, why, Marshall, is it so hard to be around women? I don't know, man. They're just... Because they have power now? Because they're educated now? Because they have rights now? Because, because they don't need us now? That's probably why it's so hard to be around them. Prelude says because women are fake. Yeah, they're also fake. We watched Teal Swan tell us about masculine.
Imagine being able to build an app with your
Oh, excuse me. Oh.
Often when I'm speaking about relationships between men and women, or doing any kind of help with couples, so often I talk about how important it is for a man to provide containment for the woman that he's with. But so many men and also women are confused about what containment even is, much less how to provide containment for someone. For that reason, I've decided to do this episode entirely on containment.
Yeah. Luna Noir says strong and independent, but still our job to do all the approaching. Yeah. You'll see, I mean, this is what I mean, bro, is like if you don't stop listening to them, they will convince men into giving them literally everything. I mean, doing everything for them. I mean, I feel like they already have, but yeah, women are just, I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe women are, I don't know. I don't know, dude. I don't really see the appeal, but the more days that go by, the more that I go through this life, the more I'm just not really sure about these women. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know, man. They seem like there's just not really a lot of good things about them. There's not a lot of upside to them. I don't know, man. They're a lot. They're a lot. But they're so beautiful, right? They're so aesthetically pleasing. But I just feel like it's all just not worth it. You know? It's just not worth what this is. They're just a nuclear bomb, man. They're just a nuclear bomb. You know? I don't know, man. Jaw check maxing? Jaw check? Jaw check.
Before I get into this video, I have to actually say that this video comes with a big warning. This video is going to run up against so many erroneous yet deeply cherished beliefs around sex equality.
Erroneous? You mean erroneous? Where the fuck are you from, bitch?
It's also going to run up against so many erroneous yet deeply revealed beliefs around power and freedom relative to women. What this means is that I'm going to have to ask you to keep a really, really open mind and also separate out your own personal triggers from this objectively intellectual conversation about containment and about
Objectively, this is an objectively intellectual conversation. This is objective. It's objectively. This is an objective fact that this is an intellectual conversation.
the sexes.
Go fuck yourself.
Another thing, this episode is about something that men do for women in a relationship. It's not about what
It's not AI. She's actually real.
women do for men in a relationship, so don't expect me
Look
to
her
go
up.
into that during this video. As a last disclaimer, because this episode's going to be controversial, most likely, I gotta mention something. You can play your relationships literally any way you want to if it's something that works for you. The thing is, you gotta be really, really honest with yourself and ask yourself the question, is what I'm doing in my relationships really working for me or not? And when I ask this question to so many men and women, the answer to that is no. And for women, so many of them answer no to this question because the man in their life is not actually providing them with containment.
See how it's never about what the woman's doing right there? Let's listen to this again.
All right, let's get into it, shall we? The first thing that must be said when I get into this topic is that men and women are different. This automatically means that men and women are not the same. In fact, if they were the same, on a physical level, the way you'd see that manifest is by a being having the exact same physical structure, working for me or not.
I think that I go back and then I actually go forward. How does that fucking work?
And when I ask this question to so many men and women, the answer to that is no. And for women, so many of them answer no to this question because the man in their life is not actually providing them with containment.
So they're not getting, you see how it's all a man's responsibility. A woman's not happy because the man is not providing me with containment. The man's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. It's this crazy thing where women will never have, so it's like, guys, for the men, why are you not happy in your relationships? Well, it's actually entirely on you. You're not providing containment. That's why you're not happy in your relationships. Women, why are you not happy in relationships? Well, it's actually because the man's not providing you containment. So again, it's just all the man's fault, really. Hey, girl, you're fine. Girl, you're fine. There's nothing that you need to do. Girl, you're good. Let's see if she says anything in this video that's about what women should do or what women need to do. I mean, I doubt it. Yeah, Hani Ram is the one, Sensei. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, let's get into it, shall we? The first thing that must be said when I get into this topic is that men and women are different. This automatically means that men and women are not the same. In fact, if they were the same, on a physical level, the way you'd see that...
Yeah, One Bone says if I provide containment, I'll just get called controlling. Yeah, exactly. You'll get called controlling, you'll get called insecure. Apparently, you're supposed to be able to provide containment. I mean, none of this makes sense, man. That's what I'm saying is like, I think the point of women is like, you're not really supposed to engage with them. You know? You're not really supposed to engage with them because they'll convince you of just crazy. I mean, they are... If you believe a woman, man, if you always listen to a woman, I mean, I think you're destined for fucking hell. You will be in hell, my guy. I mean, they don't know what they're, I don't know, man. This is what I say. This is what I think. Like, there's just something about women where I don't know if they're right, man. I don't know if they're right. Like, maybe the purpose of this world, maybe the entire purpose of this world is to come to the realization that this world is for men, right? It's for men. This is a interface for men. This is a matrix for men. And it's to come to the realization that, you're going to have to give up the one thing that you want the most because it's absolute torture, And once you realize this, you're free. And if you don't realize it before you die, then you come back and you do this whole women thing again. And if you don't realize it, then you have to come back and interface with women again and see if you can get over them. And then, I might be on my last time. This might be my last time here. For a lot of men, it's their first time. This is their first time here. They got no clue. I think this might be my last time here. This is my last try. I think this is the try that I think this is the time that I get it. I get it here, And this is the one where I graduate. This is the one where I graduate where I never have to come back here ever again. I never have to come back and deal with women ever again. Because I've seen that there's no sense in it, right? It's crazy how I can just get black pill out of nowhere. Like some days I'm blue pill, some days I'm red pill, some days I'm black pill. Today I'm a black pill, right? Today I'm swallowing the black pill, man. Women just don't seem right. They don't seem like, there's just something off. Something off. I've said it all.
Manifest is by a being having the exact same physical structure. Until the day that we are willing to accept that men and women are different,
no more respawns.
We will never be able to actually create harmony in a relationship between men and women.
Yoda pilled.
This is critical because so many of the people who fight so hard for gender equality erroneously do so by fighting for gender sameness. In other words, they try to establish equality of value or equality of power or equality of whatever else by trying to prove that men and women are the same. Sorry to break it to you, but this is a super losing argument and it's a losing strategy because they're not the same. Bottom line, and I'm going to start with this, containment is something that women need in a relationship in order to feel good in the relationship. If you want to understand this even more in depth, you can watch 2 of my videos titled, first, What Every Man Needs to Know About Women, and second, Why Women Like Assholes.
What about what every woman needs to know about men? Where's that video? Oh shit, it's right here. It's right here. You guys can't see it, but it's right here. What every woman should know about men. Maybe we should watch that one next time.
The bottom line is, and I never want you to forget this, women cannot feel good in a relationship without containment. Before we go deeper into exactly what containment is and how to provide it for a woman, I'm going to have to address the demographics of women.
It's all bullshit, man. If you're watching this stuff, you're already fucked. You know what I mean? If you're watching this stuff, you're already fucked. You're fucked. You know? No amount of look. It's just a fact that we live in a time where you can know more about women than any man in human history, bro. You have the internet at your disposal. You have YouTube at your disposal. You have billions probably of videos, content, books, articles, everything, podcasts telling you about women. Did it help? Did this help? Right? Are we, you know? I mean, in a weird way, there's also on the other side of that, there's billions of content that tells women about men. So it's like this thing where we know more about each other than we ever have. And what a coincidence. We want to have nothing to do with each other, really. You know? The more we understand about each other, it's the more we're just like, nah, I'm good. You know? All this information that you have, it's not really, did it do anything? Is it doing anything? All this information that men and women have about each other now, are we really making it happen, right? Are we really having fruitful relationships now? I don't know. I don't really see them. I see the birth rate plummeting. I see men and women hating each other more than ever. I see like crazy hateful content from both sides, which I am a part of. So it's like, I don't think it's getting better. So what makes us think that we need to know even more about each other? That the problem is we just don't know enough about the other opposite sex. That we need to consume hundreds of thousands of videos about dating dynamics and female nature and male nature and this and this and that. Isn't that what being in a relationship is kind of for, right? Kind of takes the whole point out of being in a relationship. Maybe that's the real point here, is like, why even be in a relationship when you have all this information? You feel like I feel like I've been in 20 just by watching YouTube for the last 2 years. I feel like I've been in a 30-year relationship with a woman just by watching all these videos. You know what I mean? What's the point of getting in a relationship with a woman? I already know like all the shit that she needs, and she needs containment, and all. She needs this, she needs that. Don't do this, don't do that. She's probably gonna have a fake personality. She's probably insecure about this, blah, blah, blah. She can probably see your insecurity, blah, 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 and all this bullshit. Why even get in a relationship, bro? It's almost like it takes all this information just, that's what the point of a relationship is to figure all this shit out through life experience, through actually dealing with the other person. You know, now we're even, it's this weird thing where now we're even feeling like we can consume all this content, all these things that we would find out while being in a relationship with a woman or being in a relationship with a man. You would find out all this stuff by doing that. But now we're just like, you know what? I don't want to do that. I just want to consume all of this stuff. That way I can get with a woman or I can get with a man and have the upper hand. I can have the upper hand. I can have the upper hand. I can control them. I can know more information than them. Right? What do they say? Knowledge is power. All this knowledge, all this stuff that I've consumed, I can now get in a relationship with them and I can control them. They'll be like my little puppet. That's what women and men both think. That's why they watch things like this. So they can get in a relationship with another person and have the upper hand. But, you know, it's not gonna do anything. It doesn't work in effect because I feel like that's not the nature of relationships. You're not supposed to be in a relationship where you just know everything they're going to do and you have full control over them. That's not interesting, right? That's boring. It's not really going to excite you. What excites a lot of people, what gets people interested in relationships is the unknown, is the mystery, is the unexpectedness, the figuring things out in real time with another person, growing closer with them. If you already know everything about them, how can you can just control them. It's not like you can develop some sort of connection with that person, if you already know everything about them. So I feel like once you start consuming all this content, it's like the pool of potential mates, potential people that you can actually be with just gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. But again, it kind of goes back to what I was saying about just because you know all this information, theoretically, you have all this information in your mind, you consume all these videos and books and articles about the opposite sex. It doesn't necessarily mean, in fact, in my opinion, it doesn't mean at all. It never translates, in fact, that you will be able to employ these things or adopt them into your own personality, your own psyche in a way that's automatic, right? You won't be able to actually use any of this stuff. To use any of this stuff, you actually have to go through it. You actually have to live it. It actually has to be an experience. You have to understand it. You have to know it from an experiential standpoint. You can't just consume videos and go out there and expect to act like, someone who actually lived all this stuff, learned it from experience. So, MCM says, should start driving the stick at this point. LOL. What are you talking about? Drive stick shift for a car? Isaiah Paris sends the $2. I used to get prune juice from Family Dollar. Thank you, Isaiah. That's what we really need. That is because I was wondering, actually, that was going to be my next question to Isaiah is, did you used to get prune juice from the Family Dollar? Because that was just something that I really had to know. And thank you, Isaiah, for that. I think everyone here is indebted to you for that information. And that's what really makes this community really strong, is that we can share stuff like that. It's very rich. Isaiah with the random. Real Hugo Boss is out. He says, bye, Marshall. Bye, everyone. All right, see ya, man. You leaving before I do? You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't leave before I do. What do you think you are? You think you are Real Hugo Boss? Just because you have boss in your name, you think you can just leave? Get out of here. The hell? Nobody leaves until I leave. You can't leave me. You can't leave me. Ala also wants to leave. Damn, bro. Everyone wants to leave. Ala just needs to go to sleep. Ala needs to go to sleep. You can leave. Should I end it? It's 2:40. It's 2 hours, 40 minutes. I should probably end it. I should probably end it. You guys are right. You guys are right. Should probably end it. Well, we can watch some more Teal Swan later this week. I probably will not stream tomorrow. Probably not on Tuesday. Probably Wednesday will be the next time. So Wednesday, I mean maybe Tuesday, maybe, but likely don't bet on it, but I would say Wednesday for sure though. We'll be back here Wednesday. So all right. The end maxed. Yes. First day of the candidates was today. Okay, I'll have to check that out. Is Magnus in the candidates? He didn't really want to do the World Chess Championship anymore. I know he was not doing the candidates for the last few years or something because he just is not interested in the World Championship. But yeah. All right, see you guys. See you on the next one. Take care. Make good choices or don't. Enjoy life for the next couple days. And I'll see you on Wednesday, most likely. Peace.